No, no! No! Are you listening?
Lorne Armstrong, a guy who will never know the meaning of the word trust, he will never be able to offer it, and he will never receive it. I think we can all agree that from the day he was born, he probably heard the words, "We can't trust you. I wish I could trust you, and you need to earn my trust." I bet he heard that over and over. Because I think he also heard it in the military. What I honestly think happened. Maybe he wasn't bad at the job he had, and from what we understand, he was moved to climbing inside of fuel tanks and cleaning them. I was in the Marine Corps, and those types of jobs are reserved for people you don't want anyone on the outside to see, and that you don't want to bother anyone on the inside. Put him over there so he doesn't demoralize everyone. Lorne was probably running around talking to his buddies and likely women to the point where it was becoming distracting. And they said, "Lorne, I got an idea. We're going to put you in these fuel tanks where nobody can see or hear you, and you can't go around and talk to everyone." He quit his job so that he could make sure Kayla, his little 13-year-old decoy, wasn't cheating on him. I do not think it was because he wanted to spend more, get some more time with your closeness. I mean, it could have been. Hell, it probably was. But I think part of it was so that he could control what she was doing, who she was talking to, so that all of her time was his. Because as we know, with these catfish women, if their time is not spent with him, he assumes they immediately get off the phone, they instantly go talk to another guy, they've got another guy on the side, they're having sex because he's never had sex. And that's the biggest insecurity in a man. I had a friend of mine, he didn't lose his virginity until he was in his 40s. And he's scary. He has cameras all over what is basically his compound, aimed at the bedroom. If his family goes anywhere, and I'm just going to leave it at this, they have to be on the phone with him while they're going to wherever they're going. And then when they're on their way back. There's so much more. But that's what I picture Lorne as if he had the resources. If a woman was dumb enough to actually go see him. But as for the trust thing, Ramona was a true measure of how much he just doesn't know what it means. "I put all my trust in you, Ramona." "No, Lorne, you're desperate. So you're praying to God that this works out." And you can say trust because you saw it in a Hallmark movie somewhere, or someone told you about it. Relationships are built on trust. I would imagine his probation officer probably told him that over and over, because part of probation is you have to teach them that you can't be trusted. That's why you're on probation, because we cannot trust you. You have to earn our trust. But unfortunately for Mr. Penis, he will never be able to earn anyone's trust because every opportunity has been given not to drink, not to abuse, not to try to groom Rhoda, and not to do things he's just not to talk to people on the internet or from the internet, as he says. I mean, this is a guy, come on, man. This is a guy that still thinks chat rooms are where everybody spends their time. I mean, he was saying that shit all the way up until the robot calls with, Heelborn, or where he thought it was Jamie Amy. He doesn't understand Snapchat. If he had a smartphone and he was communicating with these women via Snapchat, Kik, whatever else, and he found out about dating apps, he would go mental. You would see no trust whatsoever. He already shows none, but he would show absolutely nothing. This guy is so paranoid, so insecure, and so needy and desperate that it would be impossible for him to trust anyone. Another family I knew, the husband had a very small member. I found this out later. And this is the type of guy Lorne would be. She went to the adult toy shop because he told her to. She picked up a vibrator, and it was longer than him. And they had a 4-hour, one-sided screaming match argument. Who does that sound like? about who has she been sleeping with, why does she need one that big, isn't his enough. That sounds like Lorne. He never trusted her. She wanted to leave him. They were having the argument. He had to follow her to the airport. He had to pick her up from the airport, even though she specifically said, I want my family to pick me up from the airport. He weaseled his way in. The stuff that these insecure psychos do is terrifying. And that's a word we will use every time we talk about Lorne Armstrong. He's never trusted anyone. Now, Winnie, come on, man, I got to give Lorne a little credit, man. She's like, I'm over here touching somebody's ding-dong. But then again, Lorne, he's like, if you sleep with that international hockey team in front of me one more time, you're going to lose me. And then she sleeps with the basketball team shortly after. You're on the verge, Winnie. You're going to lose me. Lorne's desperation is what he thinks trust is. He thinks being relationship OCD, spending all his time thinking about them, is his trust. His trust, and this is important, is that he chose them to focus on. He thinks the focus on them is his trust. And so his desperation and his insecurities and all of that come into play, and he will never trust anyone, and no one will ever trust him. But those are my quick thoughts on Lorne Armstrong's trust. But I think in the future, this guy will continue to be catfished, and he will continue to tell them, I believe in you and I trust you, never knowing what those words mean. Thank you guys for listening. Sean from Middle Grounded. I'll see you in the next one.